My name is Brianna Watson, and in this presentation, I will be discussing the vivarium care plan I have created for Pagona vitticeps, or more commonly known as the bearded dragon. The tank I have chosen for this project is a 40-gallon Exoterra tank, measuring 36 inches in length, 18 inches in height, and 18 inches in depth. This tank has front opening doors, which allows for easy front access. This is a great choice for bearded dragons as they often become startled when reached for from above. A 40-gallon tank of this size is the minimum recommendation for bearded dragons, with 75 gallons or more being optimal. Bearded dragons require quite a few different types of lighting. As a general heat lamp for increasing ambient temperatures as well as a warm basking area, I have chosen to use a 65-watt halogen bulb. These can be purchased at most hardware stores and are significantly cheaper than Reptile-branded heat bulbs. I've chosen to connect my halogen bulb to a dimmer switch so that I can dim the light if the basking area becomes too hot. Since bearded dragons are native to the deserts of Australia, they need warm nighttime ambient temperatures as well. I have installed a 40-watt ceramic heat emitter to keep one side of the tank around 75 degrees during the night, while having the cooler side stay between 68 and 70. Bearded dragons are prone to developing metabolic bone disease if not given the correct calcium supplements and UVB lighting. To combat this, I have chosen to mount a 2-foot 10.0 high-output UVB light on the inside of the top screen. Mounting inside the tank is recommended to ensure proper exposure to the light. All of my heat and lighting elements are connected to a 24-hour automatic timer, which ensures that the heat and lights turn on and off at the same times every day. The background I have created is a combination of foam boards and expanding foam. A sturdy board of insulating foam was cut down and glued together to fit the backside of the tank. Great Stuff expanding foam was then applied to the board. Once hardened, I carved the foam down to replicate the smooth but imperfect rockwork that is found in the Australian deserts that these reptiles reside in. 4 layers of Hot Wire Foam Factory's foam coat was applied to the foam to seal it while also hardening the structure. Once the coat was dried, I used many layers of tan, brown, and red acrylic paints to try and bring a natural look to the rockwork. Creating a naturalistic, bioactive substrate for bearded dragons is often considered taboo. It's not recommended to keep bearded dragons on loose substrate as there have been many cases reporting impaction due to the ingestion of sand. However, these animals live on loose substrate in the wild, but it is quite different from the homogeneous reptile sand that is sold in most pet stores and is directly advertised for bearded dragons. A minimal amount of leaf litter was included in the substrate to house the isopods that are being used as the cleanup crew. Although this is not common in most desert substrates, it is essential in maintaining soil health. The soil layer is a mix of many types of substrate. 4 parts of this mix is topsoil, which contains a lot of composted material as well as sphagnum moss. This allows a thicker, more moist base for housing nutrients and stabilizing the plant's roots. 1 part paver sand and 1 part crushed walnut were mixed in to create a sandy aspect of the desert floor. By including the crushed walnut, I have reduced the probability of impaction as walnut shells are digestible for bearded dragons. 2 parts of repti bark and 2 parts of coconut fiber were also added to create a more diverse mix. Excavator clay may also be included to create a more packed substrate, but was not included in mine due to low availability. A mesh aluminum screen was placed between the soil layer and the drainage layer to keep these mediums separated. The drainage layer is composed solely of small pieces of lava rocks. Although these are recommended more for tanks with higher humidity due to their porous texture, These were chosen to complement the red tint of the background. Since bearded dragons come mainly from desert areas and scrublands, I have chosen to keep the decorations to a minimum. Inside you can see 3 different plants, all known to be found in warmer desert-like climates. These include Opuntia, or the prickly pear cactus, Echeveria, and aloe vera. All 3 of these plants are also great choices as they are all edible for bearded dragons. The only furniture I have opted to include are various rocks and sticks. The rock slabs have been arranged to create a flat basking area while also providing a dark but warm hide. Other smaller rocks have been added for climbing structures and decoration. The sticks I have are simply from my backyard. Unwanted bark was removed and the sticks were sanitized by heating them in 200 degrees for an hour in the oven. This was done in an attempt to kill off any unwanted bugs or funguses that may be inside the sticks. The sticks also provide opportunities for climbing. A cork hide was added to the cooler side of the tank to give the bearded dragon options for hiding in different temperature gradients. Bearded dragons are hunters and scavengers in the wild. They often hunt for insects that serve as the protein they need. Bearded dragons are able to eat a variety of feeder insects, with crickets and dubia roaches being the most popular. As omnivores, they will also feed on the vegetation that they find in the desert. Along with the plants I have provided as potential snacks, bearded dragons are able to eat other produce items in captivity. Dark leafy greens consisting mainly of collard, mustard, and turnip greens are recommended as staples in their diet. They may also be treated with other produce such as bell peppers, carrots, and blueberries. As previously discussed, bearded dragons should receive calcium supplements in their diets, especially if their normal diet is low in calcium. This can be done by dusting feeder insects before feeding or sprinkling calcium onto greens. It is very rare to find a bearded dragon who drinks water from their water bowl. As desert animals, they don't come across standing water often. However, it is recommended to always provide fresh water for drinking and soaking. It is also recommended to bathe bearded dragons at least once a week in warm water to help prevent dehydration and to aid in bowel movements. An acceptable temperature profile for a bearded dragon tank should consist of a basking area spanning between 88 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The ambient temperature during the day should be around 75 degrees on the cool side of the tank and 85 degrees on the warm side, with a nighttime ambient temperature between 70 and 75 degrees. The cork tube I have placed on the cool side of the tank provides a dark hide with temperatures around 75 degrees. The sticks and cork hide both serve as climbing structures to allow the bearded dragon to fluctuate positions to find the temperature it is looking for. Rock structures built on the warmer side of the tank serve as a flat area for basking while also heating the tunnel underneath. This allows direct and indirect exposure to the heat radiation.